You walk into this room at your own risk because it leads to the future. Not a future that necessarily will be, but a future that might be. This is not a new world. It is simply an extension of the last one. It has patterned itself after every person that has ever planted the ripping imprint of a boot on the pages of its history since the beginning. It will have refinements, technological advances, and a more sophisticated approach to the last one. But like every one of the councils that preceded it, it has one truth. Any councilor's ideology that fails to recognize the worth, the dignity, the rights of its citizens will become obsolete. A case to be filed L for learning in the municipal zone. So you have been elected to council. What were you thinking? I'm Rick Sterling. You may know me from other local government films, such as Don't Hate the Ratepayer, Hate the Game, and Voting Isn't Just for Old People. In the municipal zone, we will help you with your transition to council by covering the following topics: council meeting proceedings, conflict of interest, and council staff relations.
Look, this is the 5th time I've been here requesting that something be done about the excessive speed on my residential street. Numerous animals have already been killed, and I'm just worried that...
Oh my God, I wish I had a nail file.
I'm just worried that a child is going to be the next to die.
Yes!
Sorry, they scored.
Let's take a look at council meeting proceedings in the municipal zone.
Thank you, Your Worship. I've received thousands of emails concerned about this public urination problem that we've got happening here in the city. I see that we've got no options other than to move forward and have $150,000 spent so that we can address this problem. So I would like to move that the city fund this $150,000 through taxation and purchase and install 2 urinals in the downtown core.
I'll second that motion.
On the main motion, all those in favor? It's unanimous, carried.
Through the chair, I would like to move a motion that the city fund $500 for beautification for putting in native plantings and flowers around the outside of these urinals.
$500 for plantings? I can't support a motion like that.
What do you have against petunias in our community?
Yeah, the green agenda, great. And this is why the union agenda will fail here in BC. The most way that people love and have flowers everywhere in the city.
You need to settle down and deal with this.
City needs roads. City they don't need... You're embarrassed.
I'd like to put a new motion on the table. That $250 be put toward native plantings and beautification around the new downtown urinals.
I second the motion.
On the main motion, all those in favor? Opposed?
Let's take a look at conflict of interest in the municipal zone.
Thank you, Your Worship. As Council knows from talking to me earlier, this is going to be a fantastic opportunity for the city. We'll be able to take that useless piece of farmland and turn it into a beautiful shopping center with tons of free parking. We might even be able to get an IKEA.
I'd like to put a motion on the table that the rezoning application be approved as presented.
I second the motion.
Is there any member of the public wanting to speak to the application? Seeing none, all members put up their hands in favor. Carried.
Colin Stewart, Municipal Solicitor, gives us insight on the conflict of interest in the Municipal Zone.
The first thing is for elected officials to be educated about what conflict of interest is, so that they are alive to the possibility of a conflict arising, and then being vigilant about circumstances that might trigger a conflict on their part. If they have questions, they can always consult with their colleagues or with senior municipal staff, and then if there appears to be a real issue, they can obtain legal advice. If they discover that they might have a conflict of interest before they're actually into the council meeting or the board meeting, they can try and discuss this with colleagues or with senior municipal staff to get a better idea. If they find themselves in a situation in a council meeting where something comes up and they have a strong suspicion that they're in a conflict of interest, or even if it appears to them that there is a reasonable possibility that they've got a conflict, then they would make a declaration that they are in a conflict of interest, and they are to remove themselves from the meeting and not participate in the discussion or the voting, and not attempt to influence anyone else's decision making with respect to the matter.
The next item on the evening agenda is a rezoning application for a large shopping centre on Land Reserve Road. The applicant, Mr. Borden, is here to speak to the application.
Your Worship, as I am one of the developers involved in this application, I'd like to declare a conflict of interest and leave the chamber at this time.
Well, that depends on the nature of the conflict of interest. There are two kinds of conflicts, and they have different consequences. If it's a non-pecuniary conflict of interest, so if the council members' financial interests are not affected, then there is no legal consequence for a determination that the elected official was in a conflict of interest for the council member himself or herself. The consequence is that their vote would be nullified. However, if they participate in the discussion or vote on an issue in which there is a pecuniary conflict of interest, so it does affect their financial interests, the consequences can be disqualification from elected office until the next election, unless it's determined that the participation improperly at the meeting was as a result of inadvertence or an error of judgment in good faith. There is a mechanism available under the Act. If a council member trying to do the right thing makes a declaration when it really isn't warranted, then under Section 100, Sub 4 of the Community Charter, there's a process available whereby the elected official can obtain a legal opinion to the effect that there is no disqualifying conflict of interest, and then the elected official can withdraw the earlier declaration of a conflict and resume participation in council meetings respecting that matter.
Let's take a look at council staff relations in the municipal zone.
Eileen. How's it going? Is there coffee and stuff for the meeting?
Coffee? For the meeting? I've been meaning to talk to you. How come you're asking staff to provide coffee and donuts for the council meeting? Oh, we've got so much to do around here, you can't possibly think that we have time to get donuts and coffee for council meetings. I'm so sick and tired of doing your work for you. Oh, and I've got all this stuff and it's not freaking balancing. And you want donuts?
They're here. They're just in there. Council decided to take the initiative themselves to bring coffee and donuts. I was just wondering if you'd seen them.
Julie, I'm really sorry that I snapped at you like that. There's no call for that. I appreciate that you do donuts and coffee, and you're always really good at telling me what a good job I'm doing, and I really appreciate that. And I'm sorry. Please accept my apology.
Me as well. I'm sorry for getting in your space like that. I should have knocked before I came in.
We've had a hard day.
We have, haven't we? All right, so coffee's ready.
Oh, thanks.
You're
all
welcome.
right. Well, then let's go.
Gord Horth, former Chief Administrative Officer, now Member of Council. Let's watch as he gives us insight of the effective council staff relations in the municipal zone.
Well, I think that it takes work, but I think that hopefully both parties are willing. And as a councillor, I think it's incumbent for you to take the first step, especially if you're a new councillor. I think, you know, getting to know your staff, they're your senior advisors, they're your go-to people, they're, you know, leading your organization. And I think that, you know, making an effort to get to know them as professionals, being open and forthcoming, I think effectively as an elected representative, you're just going to missing out on key points of information, key professional perspectives that you're going to need to make an informed decision on either a policy or an issue about what you hope to accomplish during that 3-year term. Lay out a plan. You know, what are we going to get done in year 1, or some of them more longer term? Is it 3-year and beyond, and we can just set things in motion? Do we have our priorities straight? In terms of, do we have consensus what we want senior staff to work on and where our resources are going towards, I think is going to give you satisfaction, because at the end of the day, when you look back after spending 3 years at the council table, you're going to be able to say, yeah, we thought this one through. We thought these were our priorities. We assigned resources towards those. And guess what? Year 3, we knocked off 4 of the 5. And that's a great sense of accomplishment, and you move the community forward. What staff is supposed to be doing and what we as council members are supposed to be doing. You know, we don't guide the organization. We set out, we do policy, we set broad direction, we find resources for staff, and then staff will get it done for us if it's clear and understood and it's realistic. So, you know, I've always felt that that is a great relationship and a good use of political resources as well as staff resources.
In the municipal zone, all members of council have the statutory responsibility to consider the well-being and interests of the community, to contribute to the development and evaluation of the policies and programs respecting municipality services and activities, and to participate in council meetings. You are the voice in your community in the municipal zone. And don't forget, the bylaw officers are the most important people in the municipal zone.